Tesla recently announced their new Cybertruck, and the first thing that I saw when I looked at it was not the simple fact that it's a truck, but I wanted to turn it into a graphics card shroud because that's kind of what it looked like. So at the time I was hanging out with my uncle and he suggested this idea. I was actually working on kind of another car-based design for another graphics card, and my uncle suggested that I make a Tesla-themed graphics card. And so that's what we're going to do in today's video. We're going to make a graphics card that is a Cybertruck that looks like a Cybertruck, hopefully will perform relatively the same as a Cybertruck, and we'll basically go through and make it 100% Tesla themed, 100% Cybertruck themed, and make it something that actually works that we can put on a card and test. So here's what I'm going to do in today's video. We're going to show you how it's done. We're going to do a whole process of building, designing, testing, all that stuff. We're going to, at the end, of course, compare it to the original card or do a comparative so we see how well it performs, how well it dissipates heat compared to a normal card. And then also in this entire video, we'll show you how I did this, how we designed this, how we make it so it looks really, really cool. And then of course the whole 3D printing process, painting, sanding, all this stuff to make a really nice working prototype card that is 100% unique, and it's a freaking Cybertruck. So the first thing that I did is I hopped into Fusion 360. It's just my choice. And I already had kind of modeled out the design of the heatsink that we were using or basing off of. So I kind of knew where I was supposed to kind of build everything. So then I used, with that as the basis, I kind of designed using the picture for reference. And then I, of course, started moving my way, kind of modeling this out, pretty much replicating it perfectly, or I guess the best that I could really in the software. Because then I knew once I had it in the software, it wouldn't be that difficult to 3D print. So as you see, I just pretty much kind of designed that up, and then I'll copy this over in a second. And then I'm also just working on the fenders right here, trying to make sure that they are flared out as much, and also look how they're supposed to, I guess. So this really didn't take long in the sense. I had done a lot of practice beforehand, and I've also done a couple iterations of this. This was the final one though, and this is the one that I really kind of liked how it looked. So therefore, that's what I ended up using. Now the next step was just mirroring it over and then finishing up with kind of integrating where we had the graphics card or the heatsink itself and integrating that into the design and actually cutting out holes so the fans would have somewhere to spin and things like that, trying to make it an actual graphics card. So obviously you need some functionality, so that's what I'm doing. I'm kind of making the little screw holes here and making sure they fit and meet the right sizes. So next up was the 3D printing process, and this is pretty self-explanatory. Obviously the printer isn't going to be able to print the entire thing at once, so I ended up splitting into 3 separate pieces and printing those 3. I actually like that because I was able to save a lot of filament that way, simply just because I'm not having to print one giant thing. I was actually able to print in little pieces and then orient those just so that they print with the least amount of filament. But getting up early in the morning before my lecture or my college classes and stuff, just to make sure that it was printing and then printing the separate 3 pieces. But yeah, liked how it looked. Next it was on to sanding after they finished printing. And for me, I chose to do this just to make sure everything was really smooth and flat when I spray painted over. Now obviously people can leave this, I just personally wanted to make sure it was really smooth, basically replicating the Cybertruck, I guess, as accurately as possible. So next up, I just had to glue things. Now I used some super glue just to kind of combine or weld the areas together. Honestly, I think it looks really good. I'm not too concerned about this coming apart. I did have to re-glue it a couple times just because of the fact that I didn't apply enough in some areas. Next, it was just time to prep for painting, and so I just took some regular painter's tape and kind of started blocking off the areas that I wanted to keep black. next up was just time to touch up the areas that I missed with the painter's tape and go through and kind of finish them out with some black. And I just took a Sharpie with this and finished it out. So I figured that if it really wanted to be a Tesla Cybertruck, we had to have some logos on there. So I pretty much took Tesla's logo, credit to them, it's theirs. And since I'm not retailing this or selling this, I assume there's not going to be an issue. But I go through and just kind of set it up so I'll print this out, and then I'll print these kind of like stickers, put them on both the fans, and then basically it's officially themed. So the big question you probably want to know right now, how well does it perform? And after about, I don't know, a lot of time that I spent on this, it really didn't matter. There really wasn't a big difference, which I mean, what I was hoping for with the default shroud and this shroud. It really didn't change about that much. I think it was only 1 to 2, maybe even 3 degrees Celsius difference. In reality, that's not bad at all. And plus, I think this looks 20 times cooler than what, pun intended, was originally supposed to be there. And I think in overview, I think it was actually an extremely good idea, and I'm very proud with how this turned out. So this right here is the complete Tesla Cybertruck graphics card. As you can see, it looks surprisingly well. I gotta say, I'm really proud of myself for pulling this one off. But for the most part, yeah, that's the Cybertruck, but it's also the graphics card. So let's go over what I would change, because nothing's perfect and you always want to improve on yourself. So first off, number one, I'd make this a little bit thinner, because clearly, without a doubt, this sucker is thick. And by that I mean the fact is, you're not going to be able to put this in a regular PCIe slot on your motherboard. You're going to need a riser, which is what I use for testing. So just the heads up, you're going to need a riser. Also, I think that I would work on making this a little bit more close to the heatsink itself, rather than just being really bulky on top. But I'm glad it fits, because that would be a lot of wasted 3D printing time and, I guess, energy to not fit. So that has been the whole entire Tesla graphics card video. This video has taken me over a week, almost a week and a half to make. So a couple things that I really want to point out that I'm really proud of, some of my highlights of my week, has been the fact that this sucker took a long time to dry, took a long time to 3D print. I was getting up in classes, for my classes, really early, so that way I could run over here, make sure everything was set up in print, and then run drive off to school, trying to make sure I had everything ready for this, to make sure this video would be ready for you guys. So I hope you guys sincerely enjoyed this, because this was rather fun, but also took a long time, and it's also why there hasn't been too many videos on this channel. I want to do more of this. Elon Musk, if you are down, please come contact me. I will make more of these. All means SpaceX up next if you're interested. And also, if you want to see some custom graphics cards, that's kind of where this channel is going towards. Definitely custom graphics cards. I want to make custom graphics cards. So NVIDIA, come sponsor me. I love a 1080, 2080 Ti, 2080 Ti just to make a nice, really custom graphics card. So come hit me up. But as you see, this is a great start to this series, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where this goes in the future. So subscribe if you're into that. If not, have a wonderful day. Like the video, I'd appreciate it. It took a lot of my time on this guy. And yeah, this is amazing. That's pretty cool. Thank y'all. Have a wonderful day.